Gary Thurber, USA, was asking me about marathon carriages. Now, I wouldn't really be the man to talk to about that. Obviously, I know about marathon carriages. I see marathon carriages. There are good and bad in, lots of manufacturers. We don't have a lot. There's more in Europe, perhaps, than there are in here, in manufacturers-wise. Definitely, I think we have, one or two. So, one or two we have that still manufacture. But Bennington being one. The problem is when you talk about marathon carriages, it's a constant changing. If you look over even a period of 5, 6 years, 10 years certainly, and longer, they change dramatically. Different ideas. Airbags for suspension, half leaf spring airbag, delayed steering, smaller wheels on the back, larger ones on the front. Why do they do it? And all this sort of thing. Well, what you'd be better off doing is, what we're going to do is give you a list of people that might be able to help you. So one is Wolf Bowman, but we'll put it all up, but we'll contact you in some way or the other and let you know. And it would talk it through with you and tell you, and he can definitely ship to the USA. There's several people, it all depends, what carriage you want. There's so many different ones now, and new innovations all the time, so it makes it very difficult for me to say. And I wouldn't have the knowledge that Benningtons would have on what makes a good marathon carriage. I suppose the best way of looking is look at, your top 10 drivers in the world and see what they're using. I mean, obviously, I presume, I certainly don't know this, but sponsorship would come into that, so there'd be a certain amount. But they're not going to use anything that's not going to let them get round, And it all depends what standard you're going for, where you are, Gary. I mean, I'm out, I don't know where you are in the States, but we do come out there and we do some clinics and like that, and a lot of bits and pieces like that. I know that when I was out in Canada a little while ago, there was someone looking for a marathon carriage, and I got a Cushman, and I was absolutely shocked, seriously shocked of the quality of it, the way it was built. A Cushman. I'll put that up on the screen, the spelling, I'm not sure of it. But that was a fantastic vehicle. I got it for 2 ponies, about 13 and 12 to 13 and. And you'd think when you look at it, that'd be too heavy. When that's going through the mud and coming out the water, that's going to be too heavy. But it was built beautifully, solid, strong. Cushman, brilliant vehicle. It was a few years old. It would be a few. I couldn't say to you exactly, because it's not a make I knew really or seen much about at all. But I thought that was a really good vehicle. It was so stable, and it was lovely on the road, on the pavement, the road, the public highway. It was lovely on there. It was like fantastic. It seemed so hard. So I got it for a lady in Canada, a dear friend of mine, down in Saskatoon, is where she's at. And she's got a lot of off-road, because there is a lot of off-road driving. But these trenches they have up the side of the road in Canada, they must have them in some parts of the States, I've certainly seen them, where obviously they get flash floods and it's to take it away. Well, she'll drive straight down there at a 45-degree angle, no trouble at all. And the carriage will hold and stay, completely firm, and they drive it along the ditch for a good few miles. They have to, if there's a roadway coming across it from someone's property, they come out and drop back down again. And it really stable, brilliant carriage. So that was a Cushman. I'm not recommending that. I was just shocked how good it was. One I hadn't heard of before, very much anyway. That was a lovely vehicle. But that's what we're going to do. What we're going to do is we're going to put up on the screen some names, if not real, contact you in some way or the other and let you know of people in this country. I don't know anybody that's producing stuff in the USA, but I think that anyone that's producing it, someone comes up with another idea. I've had a few ideas for them that I'd like to, put into practice, and quite a few ideas there. I think that carriages could be improved, without too much, certainly without a weight. The weight side of it wouldn't be a problem. The safety would be increased, I think. But no, I honestly can't. I wouldn't be the man that can help you with that particular thing. So that's as much as I can say to you, Gary, on that one. What I'm going to talk about now is a girl called Fiona. She's from our country, London, and she's talking to me about she wants something. She's obviously infirmed because she says she leaves her wheelchair, and the RDA, which is a wonderful organisation, but they have to be very, very careful, and safety first. And therefore you've got to write a book of rules and you've got to run with them and keep that. The problem is there might be several people helping you, and when you're at home, therefore you can't do it. So she's saying to me, what do I recommend? Well, without actually seeing you, the pony you drive or the horse you drive and everything like that, it's near impossible to say. But all I would say is this: there's loads of manufacturers that make the vehicles. Your problem is a lot of the time is the training of horses and how they're trained and how they cope. That your equipment is 100% in all respects. Equipment failure accounts for a few accidents, training accounts for most accidents, and then obviously either other people using the road or public highway, or driver error obviously comes into it. But one vehicle, when I had a bad leg that I used a lot, you don't see them now and they're old and you wouldn't be able to find one. But there is a fella that would manufacture you, definitely without question, he would manufacture a vehicle that would suit you. I mean, if you had time to do so. I've never met the man, as far as I know, but I'll get his name, I'll put it up on the screen and give him a ring. He would definitely manufacture one. But the one I've found that was good is anything that is cab fronted. So that means the shafts, this is for a two-wheeler, the shafts don't go through the vehicle down the side to the back of the vehicle. They don't go. They stop at the front. It's cab fronted. So it gets the name cab fronted from the handsome cab. So your shafts stop at the dashboard. So your shaft's there, like that, and then you've got a brace coming down. So the step up might be as low as, well, with a pony, it could be as low as 6 inches. You've got your bench seat going across. So in and out access is fantastic. Now, to find one, Battleston was one. I'm sure that's the name of it. Battleston Gig was one cab fronted. There was lots actually. You see sometimes milk floats will be built the same way. So it was where you was either loading something on like big heavy churns, you didn't want to lift them too high, so you'd have a crank axle. You maybe not have the shafts, you have cab fronted so that you could keep the body down but still have a bigger horse in there to pull it. And your driver could stand up to compensate, the line of your reins going. But I'm going to put this fella's name up on the screen when I'm here on my own doing this. Reed puts the camera on and leaves it to me and then pops back again. So she's not here, but we'll find it. He's I don't know the man, I've never met him that I can recall, but he certainly would build a carriage, no question of doubt about that, and he'd build it along them lines. But that's what I would say, that's a two-wheeler. Whether you could do the same with a four-wheeler, I wouldn't say you couldn't. I definitely wouldn't say you couldn't with a four-wheeler. You know, he would have lots of innovations, and he's, from what I've seen of his work, he's quite dedicated to it, and he would help you if he could. So that's what I would say. So the cab fronted, your shafts don't come through, so you're not climbing up. You could have whatever size wheels that suited you on there, and the wheels wouldn't interfere with you getting in and out. That's the other thing you've got to think of, is the size of the wheels and where they're set, and how the vehicle's balanced. It's not just as easy as just finishing the shafts at the front. In fact, I'm going to, if I can find a cab fronted, an old vehicle, you know, a picture of a vehicle, I'll put it up, a cab fronted vehicle, and then you'll see what I mean. But basically, there's your dashboard there, there's your seat there, your shafts coming up, so the step is very low, because normally the shafts come through, which means you've got to step over them in some way. So that's what I would say about that. I think the RDA do a wonderful job, and there's a lot of, you know, children and people that have been given a great deal of pleasure from the RDA, you know, and been able to get out there. But obviously, it's a great responsibility to take anybody on who's infirmed in any way to drive a horse. And access to the carriage is the main thing. And they have these wonderful ones that come down at the back and you can get yourself in and like that. But you've got to have a groom with you, obviously, and you've got to have your horse trained properly. I'm not saying, you know, there's plenty of horses out there that doing for the RDA I had nothing to do with. You know, they got there without my help. But it's a certain type of temperament horse you're looking for, and you've got to be right. And you've got, and also the other thing is, when you're at home, you've got to have someone you can call on. You know, you must have someone you can call on, because you want to go out for a drive, and you know, your groom can't come with you. They're not that day. They can't do that day, or they don't want to go out because it's raining, whatever. You've got a problem, and there's no point in. So, as I say, the RDA do a lovely job. They're restricted greatly when they are in charge and they're helping you. They're doing the best they possibly can to give you as much fun as they possibly can, but they have got to feel safe and confident in what they're doing. So your level might be different. Well, that don't make them wrong. I know exactly what you're saying. What you'd like to do is go out, push the wheelchair to one side, jump in the cart, and off you go with your groom. And that's lovely if it's practical and it's safe to do so. And safe to do so. And also what you've got to think of is, if you do something that's not safe, you're putting other people in danger as well. So it's a push. But I will get you this fella, and I'm sure he could build you something that would accommodate you as far as access into the vehicle goes, and therefore access is simple in, it's simple out, isn't it? And something that you could, you know, keep your wheelchair with you, but not actually use it as a seat, but keep your wheelchair with you. So that's the best I can say on them two people. Not been much help there really, you know, on a marathon vehicle and the carriage for someone who's infirmed. But that's why when I had a bad leg, I did have a bad leg, bad knee, and it broke my leg, you know, and I couldn't, drove me crackers because I couldn't climb on a carriage, couldn't do anything like that. But I had this vehicle, so I used to go around the shops with it, and I could just step in and out as easy as anything. So, yeah, maybe that would help you. Anyway, okay.